Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com. ZNation. ZNation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. ZNation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is ZNation on SoFloRadio.com.
Hello, world.
Saddam.
What's up, my beans? Hi, everyone. This is Zayna the Gaia.
And this is Emily Sunset Martinez.
And this is ZNationRadio, conscious media all over the world, broadcasting live from Hollywood, Florida. We are on SoFloRadio.com, and we are so excited to come at you today. Okay.
Wow, this is so much better. So, Z Nation Radio. What does the Z stand for? Somebody asked me the other day. I said, Zen. Originally, it was for my name, Zayna. And it's interesting because this show is not about me, I never wanted it to be about me, yet I named it Z Nation. But the show is about my vision of offering something to the world that really shows us the truth of what's going on. You know, really sheds the light on the light. As you all know, the media sheds the light on a lot of BS. And, you know, wants to point our attention where it wants to point our attention. But we're going to keep our attention on what we want to keep our attention on, which is what's really going on in the world, which is all the amazing people doing amazing things. People who give a shit, who care, who have open hearts, who are brilliant and courageous and entrepreneurs and proactive and responsible for their power and putting themselves out there and then, you know, opening up the doors for others to do the same. Because a lot of people right now are on that line. I don't know. It's the train, the love train, the fear train, the love train, the fear train. And the more we see people jumping on the love train fearlessly, with courage and with grace, and maybe they trip and they fall into the love train, but however end up on the love train. And that's our intention here at Z Nation is bringing and giving a voice to people and bringing them onto the show so that voice can be shared worldwide with the rest of the tribe, the global tribe, and tribe is happening everywhere. Yesterday I was not on any hallucinogenics, I swear. I was just me and the evening, and I was sitting and I was watching the trees. And as I looked up and I looked at the tree looked back at me. And it didn't look at me with its eyes. It just
Like the presence.
The presence was there. And then I looked at another tree and it gave me that presence again, and another tree, and I was just like, whoa, this is God. This is the universe. This is life speaking to me, and really being present, you know, and this can only happen experientially. Like, I can tell you my experience, but until you experience it for yourself, you know, that knowing that wherever I am, I can look at the trees and they'll look back. And we can be alone. We are alone on our path. Each one of us are alone on our path. And it's not a lonely path. The aloneness path, the path of the one way, you know, that everybody's on their path. I don't have to look to the right and I don't have to look to the left. I can just stay on my path and know that it's my path. And everybody is creating that for themselves. So this is the path and this is the way. And thank you for joining us. So we have an awesome guest here today. This is a longtime brother, Siri Karta, Brian. You're my brother.
Saddam, sister.
We've been on this parallel path for a minute. You know, you're one of you're like a pillar in this community and in the world. And you know, I'm so excited to have you on. You know, we were just talking about the show. Before the show, you know, I was asking Brian, you know, what his titles are, because I haven't really connected or spoken to you like one-on-one in a while, and I don't want to make any assumptions because every day we change. And you know, your name may be like, you know, the guy previously known as. Or
right,
the
guy
symbol.
Like Prince did.
You have the flower of life
yeah,
symbol.
Rest in peace, yes.
My God. So I wanted to talk a little bit today before getting into Brian's world, which I'm really, really excited to get to know you newly and find out what you're doing and share with the world,
Thank you.
your
Gratitude.
heart. I was talking a little bit about the marketplace before, and I wasn't talking about the food marketplace or even the meat marketplace.
Yeah, I was like, huh?
It was something I heard it that way from one of my teachers, Vanessa Stone, and she refers to the marketplace as, it's an isness. It's what is in this material world that we live in. Is there's what us humans do is we seek out love and attention and admiration and acknowledgement and all of that stuff from others, and we kind of make these deals between each other without calling them deals.
Mm-hmm.
And we wake up every morning and I go out into my life and I have all these agreements with people that she's gonna like me if I do this for her, and they're gonna appreciate me if I do that for them. And it's a hustle.
Yep.
All of us are hustling all day long, and I speak about it. First because I'm in the experience of it, and I recently, I've come into this awareness of wow, there's a marketplace, and I'm fully in it, and I'm a full participant of it, and if there is a way out, it's in, and. Is that from there? We have guests. So I've been watching for myself how much of my life is impacted by the marketplace, by wanting and exchanging that love from people, versus, like Rumi says, we can settle for a 1,000 half loves, or we can wait for the great vast ocean of love. It comes from God, life, universe, the flow of life, and before we can really, before we can wean ourselves out of the marketplace, well, I discovered this yesterday. I had a situation where I was having a conversation with a beloved, and it felt like he was going to take his love away, and I literally felt like I couldn't breathe anymore. I couldn't speak anymore, and I observed this. It was like my lifeline, my heart, my soul's lifeline, how it occurred is it was depending on this person's love.
Girl.
And
you were not the only.
And y'all know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Girl, yes.
And it really feels real. Like it feels like I'm dying. Like it's like there's a survival mechanism is to start freaking out. And I did start to freak out. And, with awareness, everything shifts. It doesn't mean that if you have the awareness and you do yoga and you're conscious that you're this amazing, perfect human being that doesn't get angry, doesn't lose
just
it,
awareness. You're just aware of it. It's like, for me, it's like now nothing's changed. It's more like now when I see a situation, it's like my body's here and I can observe it and see it from that point of view now.
Yes.
That's the only difference. I'm still gonna get mad. I'm still gonna go through it's just I can observe it, learn from something from it, and possibly not do it again, because I'm human and sometimes you might do it again. But it's just not being hard on yourself and realizing that it is a practice.
Yeah.
So
the marketplace. So I invite you to also, look for yourself how you're participating in the marketplace, and be gentle with yourself. And that's been the shift for me, because, we know all this stuff. You've read a lot of books and a lot of this stuff, like we don't need to preach more. We don't even need to teach more. It's like let's just be about it. And and for me, I took this morning and I was at the beach from sunrise till I was there for 5 hours. I don't even know. I lost track of time. But allowing myself those moments where I can go in and then, heal. And not be so quick to, okay, I got this. I had an insight and I could see it now. Yeah, the marketplace, I'm in it. I'm so dependent on people's love and really got to grow that love with God. And I feel like I'm a kindergartner, and a lot of us are just beginners with that. Like I don't know what it is to have that deep relationship with the beloved and to be courted by God. And I'm just learning what that is for me. And really, I wasn't brought up that way, so how could I know? How could I know besides being open for my teacher to come, and my teacher came, and she didn't teach me anything. She was just that. She was that, and I through her being herself, I learned that, wow, I can court God as well, and we can all, the Sufis talk about it in terms of offerings. So you develop this relation with the one, you develop this relationship with God or the universe or the force that animates all, whatever you want to call it. And I'm sharing with you guys as I'm going through it too, I'm discovering like how I begin to really, my offerings to God become really potent and really sweet and nectarful, is how willing I am to receive what's being offered in the moment. So, for example, right now what's being offered is this moment. Brian's here, sunset's here, the trees outside have this like little breeze going through them, and that's what's being offered. And if I could take that in as an offering right now, as a gift, every moment, and then, sometimes you have those moments that the voice in my head is like, whoa, this is really intense, I don't want to be here. And then now the new voice is asking, well, what's being offered? What's being offered right now? And it's a new awareness, and for all of us. And then there's this offering that goes back and forth. I give an offering to God, to the universe, and it could be in the form of a flower or a prayer or a dance or a song or serving another human being, or however it is that you make your offerings, and then you keep receiving the offerings and that flow. And I'm learning day by day. That's how it grows. It's like a relationship. You gotta water it. You're with somebody, they offer something, you offer something back, and there's this flow of love. But the difference is, I don't need you to give me that love so I can give it.
Yeah.
I just keep giving it like the sun.
It's gonna spill out of you. Like that's where I'm at too. Like I've been wanting to like get in a relationship, right? But then when I look back at all my relationships, it was always like what you said, is like half love. Like you give me something, I give you something. You give me something, I give you something. And I've been reading a lot, and I always tend to be like in the Master Love, the addict, wanting that love from that other person. And then when it was taken away, it was like you said, the lifeline is being taken away. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want that, like, I come into it already with that love pouring out of me, And again, like, for me, that's like having my own life. What are the things that give me joy? What are the things that, like, it could be looking at a tree. Maybe that's where I feel the love pouring out of me. It could be drawing, whatever it is for you. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with the mics today. Whatever it is for you. So like go out there and discover for you like what makes you happy. How do you connect with source that you feel that like that love come out of you? And that can be in a lot of different things. And once you build that connection with yourself, then when you're around other people, they're gonna be like, wow, like this person's happy, and like they're happy. I remember people used to be like, are you having like sex? Did you have good sex? I'm like, no, I'm like really like in love. It's nothing like, not with necessarily another person. I'm just in love. Like I just feel the love. And sometimes it might look like that. You're all like glowy and you're like, because it's awesome. Because when you put that into someone else and you give them that expectation, it's like you said, it can just be taken away. And I want it to be there all the time. I don't want it to be taken away from something outside of me,
or to like put that pressure on another human being.
Yeah, it's not fair.
And I've apologized to my exes and gone back and really taken responsibility for expecting and asking something from them that I could only receive from source. And that is, we all do that, and it's okay. We're learning.
Yeah, it's from our roots. It's in our veins. Is in our roots. Is in our veins. Is all in there.
It's in the advertisement you see on TV. It's in the music. It's in our. It's in the brainwashing of society, and we're unlearning. And one of the things you said, Sunset, I think is a common thing too. I love what you said, and it's like, that's the key to relationships, is coming in whole and complete, right? And then there's another aspect of it where people get attached to that and they don't want to be in a relationship till they're whole and complete. And also, you know,
that is true, and it happens a lot.
That's a trap also, you know, because relationships are, in my opinion,
evolving all the time as a person and in the relationship too. Maybe I should have add that too. It's like, I guess it's just having that communication, like, listen, I'm growing and changing as a person. I'm still on this road of finding out the things that are making me happy, but what I'm committed to right now is having that communication, and I'm still discovering those things, but I'm not going to put that pressure on you. And if I feel like I am, it's like, it's just I think it just comes back to communication, and that's with
all
everybody.
If you want love, you got to communicate.
Yeah.
But you know, it's so true what you said, you know, like, really. And not only you telling that to the other person, and then you having the space for the other person to be exactly how they are. And you know, it's relationships are a beautiful tool. They're a beautiful tool for us to tap into that sacred. If we're willing to go there with somebody else, I think it's beautiful. It's not the easiest path, but it definitely is big time. You know, it's a good. It's effective.
Yeah.
It works because, you know, you present it with a mirror, and essentially we attract to ourselves those people that actually they're bringing things that we need to heal within ourselves. Like, we are both doing that consciously or unconsciously, both parties. So, and sometimes, you know, sometimes it's good to be on your own and have that time to, like, get to know yourself by yourself, and then when you're ready, you can get to know yourself with somebody. When I was in Hawaii, I drew a card. I had a reading done, and I drew the aloneness card. And that's probably been the scariest word for me, is being alone. My whole life, it's like I've always been with somebody, and I always wondered if, like, should I be alone for the rest of my life? It seems like I'm not the kind of person that can just stay with one person. And what I discovered about the aloneness card is I'm learning how to be alone while with people. And that's the same thing as stay on your path. See, if I'm on my path, I am alone on my path. And then if you're on your path and you are alone on your path, that's healthy. That's healthy. We both get to be on our paths and love each other. And we get to be together. But we're alone, ultimately. And that realization for me has been really freeing, because I can have that with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you can have it with your beloved, but also with your friends. And then that, it sets everybody free. And we're all set free. When I set myself free, I set everyone free. And now we can all be on our paths. And I don't, have to expect anything from you. And we can be in communication for what works. You know, we don't, like, become these, like, totally I don't care person. Is actually you care more. Yeah,
because I think, like the way I see alone is, like, kind of like releasing, I call it crutches, right? Because a lot of times, we think that, yes, it's good to have a team, right? But then sometimes there's just certain parts of your life, like maybe speaking your truth, you have to do that for yourself. You have to be clear for yourself. You can't expect for somebody else is going to read your mind. You know what I mean? And, like, totally give you everything you need for yourself.
That's an old, archaic way of being, especially with women. Like, thinking men are going to read your mind.
I just got a little bit of goosebumps when you said that. Sometimes people come ask me, teaching yoga, people will ask me for relationship advice. And I try to not give a relationship advice, because it is an art. It is an art to keep those relations the way we start, the way we want them to be.
That's the key too. The way we want them to be, or the way we think they should be, or the way we've been brainwashed to think relationships and female-male or female-female or male-male relationships should look like. And guys, none of it is true. And look around, like, a lot of it isn't working in the world. The way that we've been taught that relationships are. Most people are not happy in relationships. And the ones who look like they are, they're pretending their asses off, and they're frauds.
I think it's because what happens is that, like, we're giving love to people, like, how we want to be loved. But really, it's like you need to discover how that person likes to be loved. And then you
care about it.
Yeah. So it's just like, that's really how it is. And so we're walking around, like, not knowing how we want to be loved or how to express how we want to be loved. And we're just giving a person what we know, and then they're getting mad. And we're like, but why are you getting mad? This is what I know. This is what feels right for me. But, maybe ask them, like, what works for you.
Yep.
You know,
What's
Like,
your love language?
straight up. But yeah, I feel you about that. Like, I'm really doing that for me because I'm tired of being the addict trying to get my daily dose of love when it's right here.
And you guys,
we're
listen,
all running
you
around
wanna
like
know,
that.
It's not going to go anywhere. The
Oh,
marketplace
yeah.
is not, like, that's what I really got. As much as aware of it as I am, I'm in it. We're all in it. This is the world we live in. It's like
It's
trying to
just the
escape
veil.
Earth. You know, you're not going to escape Earth. I mean, I know some people are trying to go to the moon and all that, but we're all here. We're all in this universe, in this consciousness, and on this planet, and we're learning.
Word. It just, like you said, it's not going away. It's just releasing the veil. Like, because sometimes it's in front of you, but you can't see it. But now you see it. It's there. It doesn't mean it's going to go away. You're just aware of it now.
Yeah, it's like you become now layers start to peel off. It's like I got the first layer, I'm present to it, and now it's like all the different places where I'm deeply entrenched in attachment. It's just like, whoa, you know, it just builds, and then it builds tentacles around my heart. It's like it takes something to remove all of that, and you know, and that's awareness. You know, you're right, Sunset. It's just like bringing more awareness to it, and then everything shifts from there. All right, y'all. Woo, that was some. Let's take a breath.
Straight up.
Hare Hare, Waheguru. Hare Hare, Waheguru. We're going to go on a short break, listen to some messages from our amazing sponsors. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. Even if you listen for a second, or you push like on one of the social medias where you find us, or you just think about us, or you're a partner and you have a commercial with us, however you are showing your love and your light, thank you so much. We love you. We'll be right back right here on SoFlowRadio.com.
Tune in to get tuned in. This is Z Nation on SoFlowRadio.com.
Add a twist of yoga.
Yoga Twist with Julie.
A great way to integrate yoga, meditation, and lots of fun.
Promote family bonding. Help with flexibility and exercise. I teach grown-ups too.
Join Julie for beginner and gentle adult classes.
Book a group, family, or one-on-one session now. Email me, yogatwistjulie@gmail.com.
Follow Yoga Twist Julie on Instagram and like Yoga Twist on Facebook for great family lifestyle tips and Yoga Twist events.
Omar is a certified hypnotist with an intuitive and gentle approach that empowers his clients, allowing them to realize their own wisdom. Personally, I'd been stuck in a heartbreak, and with Omar's help, I got to the root of my suffering and my attachment to staying in relationships that no longer served me. I instantly felt lighter and free from resentment for the first time in years. Contact Omar at 305-343-9210 and cause a breakthrough in your life.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Clark, and I'm a yoga teacher and student at I Love Yoga Studio. It's been my privilege to practice, learn, and expand in this place of ever-evolving love and spiritual growth. When you visit, you'll most likely be greeted with a welcome home, and that's exactly how you will feel, at home and free to be. The studio offers yoga classes that meet you at your level of practice with affordable prices. So check out our schedule at www.iloveyogastudio.com. See you on the mat. Namaste.
Join the Z Nation team as a marketing partner. We are always looking for conscious, sustainable businesses to support and share with our growing community. If your business is one that serves humanity and you want the world to know, we want to help you grow. Sponsorship opportunities are available for all budgets and flavors. For more info, call us at 954-604-1290 or visit ZNationRadio.com.
Now, back to Z Nation, your weekly dose of inspiration on SoFlowRadio.com.
got a smoky taboo. I got your name tattooed. High like the helium balloon. Midnight to noon, I'm a desert child. And mountains make me nauseous. I like to look up wild at an infinite sky, twinkling with diamonds. It's true, I get depressed in fancy hotel rooms, undressed with nothing to flaunt but my loneliness, thinking of the night song of your hair. Premature as evening falls, it calls to me, interrupted by the sirens in the street. Some days you're like an anchor on my heart. They say the stolen water tastes sweet, more like rotten milk and recipe to me. I prefer when it is fruit.
Coco Roses is the name of the artists. Brian, you introduced us to them. You want to talk a little bit about them?
Okay, so I I was DJing for a while out in a place called Harmonics in New York, and I used to do the down tempo part after a laser light show they did, and
Look at you.
yeah, and I would always want to seek, something that people hadn't heard before, and a buddy of mine showed me this video, and I saw just the way they looked and were dressed, and just their whole look. It seemed so now, so in the future, so futuristic, so what I wanted to see now. And then I looked at the thing and I realized this is from 2009, 2008. And so I started learning about them and their life as sisters growing up and their music. And it's
Very unique.
it's very unique, very interesting.
Authentic and creative and
Very authentic, yeah.
Thank you. Cool. All right. Well, welcome, Brian Siri Karta.
Oh, welcome. It's really humbling and an honor to be here and listen to the beautiful voices and the beautiful thoughts that were coming out of your heart.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because really, about a block before I walked in here, I thought about what we were going to talk about, and you guys kind of sort of nailed it all. in what is, I think, what we're all feeling.
What's current right now, yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I think that's one of the things we like to do. We like to talk about things that perhaps people aren't talking about.
I think it's the elevated unity consciousness that is unit. You is one, and then we live in a holographic world, and so when you have an item and you project light onto it to create a hologram, you project a whole other piece of that entity. And so the consciousness, the unified consciousness that we're feeling now is a ripple echo of all our feelings. So I sit here and I listen to the words that you were uttering before, and it's like, yeah. That's how we're feeling now. That's what the unified consciousness field is.
Right. It's 100 monkey. We're all in it. We're all in it. So, Brian, I was asking you before about your titles. Well, I just want to introduce you to the world. So, Brian Siri Karta, you've been teaching for a while. You've been teaching Kundalini Yoga. You've been teaching consciousness. You're a teacher, and you're also a guide for many. And then you're also a web developer. So your feet in both worlds, and you're pretty good at everything that you do. I know that you're. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about like how the journey's been for you. Were you always into spirituality, and then you started teaching yoga, and then where you are now?
I've never really spoken about this stuff about me, so it almost like I'm realizing now that you're asking me how deep that question is.
Yeah,
but
it is.
It is, and when I met Sunshine.
Sunset.
Sunshine, beautiful.
Sunrise.
Nice.
Sunset.
Oh. So, she asked me my name, and I realized, I was born with a name, Olegario, and I came here and I was about 5 years old, and my parents were wanting to come to America, and this American name, Brian, was given to me by somebody who couldn't pronounce my real name. And I learned that my mother wanted to give me another name, Andres. And so you kind of say, well, she didn't want that name. I'll take this one. And then as I grew up and went to school, that was easier, Brian, in America. And then I grew up in a very religious family. My mom was a Catholic nun who got kicked out of the ministry because she was too happy. They wanted her to experience life. She was disrupting the other nuns, so they said, hey, you should go outside and try life out. And then if that didn't work, come back. Yeah, that's how. And then my mom left the priesthood at like a very young age, before 20, and met the gentleman that her father used to drink with, her drinking buddy, which turned out to be my father. And then that led to their love, and my father quit drinking. They got together, they moved to America, and then here I am. And then, I didn't grow up mostly around them, but then when I went into New York and I met spirituality through 5%ers and
5%ers?
The 5%ers, and which is really the gods of earth is another name they go by.
I don't know what this is.
What is that? I'm from New York too, so I'm like,
I know about the 1%er. What's the 5%?
Yeah.
Okay, 5%ers and Noble Drew Ali in the Moorish Science Temple, and something called the Ancient Mystical Order of Melchizedek.
Okay, is that the Drumvalo, or is that another one?
It's another
It's
school
Melchizedek
of thought.
consciousness.
It's Melchizedek consciousness.
Interesting.
And
So for those who don't know, there's consciousness that have come. There's a lot of consciousness that have come to the planet, and some of them are named things. So there's unity consciousness, there's Christ consciousness, there's Melchizedek consciousness, and there's many more. So I got it. So you were introduced.
So there's
to
a man named Malachi Z. York who's very in tune with this consciousness, and he was publishing books every day. And these were not books that you can get at Barnes and Nobles. You had to go to Times Square and go to a Moor who had the license to sell them, and I would buy the books. And these books were kind of difficult to read, and that's how I got into the spiritual world and different degrees of Freemasonry were involved, and then 30 degree, 33rd degree, and then you get asked if you want to go to Scottish Rite, if you want to go this way or that way, and it just so happens that I didn't want any of them. I didn't want to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm not a Kool-Aid drinker. And which one of the things that I love about Kundalini Yoga is that they didn't want to have a leader. It was more about creating more teachers. So I learned a lot about spirituality the way they did it. And it was that you would go a month as a Buddhist, you would go a month as a Catholic, you would go a month as Zoroastrianism, as a Muslim, as a Jew. And so you would go and live those lives.
Wow, did you do that?
That's so cool.
And it helps to learn a lot of tolerance. But what's interesting about what you guys were saying is that, a lot of people that follow that path, they don't want to leave all these other schools. They'll stay within one,
Right. It's comfortable.
The path of less resistance.
Yes.
And so that's why a lot of people are aware of it, but they're not in it because you could follow all the different forks in the road. And I decided that I was going to stick with the outside, the learning, and ancient mystic order Melchizedek, and it was lodge number 19, and there was a land in Georgia. There was pyramid. It's an amazing thing in the early 90s. Back then, the words Illuminati and yoga and spirituality were kind of looked at as occult stuff.
Yes.
They were occultish, and I was married then, and it wasn't working with that relationship I was in at that time. And so I kind of geared myself away from that side of spirituality. And we broke up. And I was so heartbroken. You know, we talk about that heartbreak, that market. And I went to look for another market, and I ended up at a Shivananda ashram up in New York. And I wanted there to be alone, just like you were saying. You know, we all seek sometimes the group of people. I was seeking to be alone. Just wanted that within, you know, to have the conversation. It just so happens that when I got there, it was teacher training going on. So there was over 300 people there.
Wow.
I didn't end up being alone. I ended up meeting a Swami who looked at my forehead and he said, "Oh my goodness, you have a big forehead." He goes, "But your skin needs help." He goes, "Don't eat meat 1 week. No red meat 1 week." And it blew my mind that he just looked at me and just said all these things. My skin, take out your tongue, let me see. And was able to see, like, you're eating this, you're eating that. And I said, you know what, let me try this. Let me try this other way.
Wow.
And I tried yoga and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I left. I was heartbroken. And then many years later, I found a poster for white tantric yoga of a man wearing a turban, Yogi Bhajan. And I just...
Where, here in Florida?
Yeah, here in Florida. And I just loved it. I put it on my creative board for inspiration when I do web development and graphic design. Months later...
Wow, so you had Yogi Bhajan hanging on
I
your
had
thing.
Yogi Bhajan. I didn't know that was Kundalini Yoga. I didn't know it was a white tantric flyer. I didn't even really read the flyer, honestly.
Wow.
Sounds like me.
I just saw the graphic design and I was like, oh, you know, I could do a flyer like that. That's a good idea for a flyer.
Awesome.
Many years later, Adriana, she was working at the Gaia store and she was listening to a Snadam car and she called me and said, listen, there's this song playing and it just made me cry. And we're buying the CD, I'm bringing it home and you need to listen to it. Of course, I didn't listen to it, you know. But one day, months later, I said, let me try this. I play it.
Sonata will hook anybody in, man. I remember the first time I heard Sonata's voice. I don't remember what song it was. I just kept playing it like over.
Yeah.
It goes right to the heart.
It does. So I cried. I had to shed a tear. And then I opened up the CD and I learned these words. And I saw her wearing a turban. And I said, that looks like that man over there. And then I realized we had a Kundalini yoga book that we hadn't opened either.
Wow.
And then I started looking and realizing that I didn't find it. It kind of found me. Then I started going to sadhanas.
Right.
For about a year. 4:30 in the morning, sadhanas. Because at the goddess store, somebody was there buying a piece for a gift of a marriage. And Divine Roberts, I love you if you hear this. She's an amazing woman she lives in Colorado now, I think. And she said, hey, this is what sadhana you guys are talking about. You know, there's one here in Florida every Saturday. You guys can show up. It's here. This is the address. Wear white. Just show up. I had no white clothing.
I know.
So I went and I bought a white t-shirt and white shorts. And I showed up at 4:30 one Saturday morning. And they hugged me hello like I had known them forever.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And yeah, and it was very welcoming. And then we sat down and I had been listening to Snadam Kaur. And then I was like, wait, these mantras, I know them because I've been listening to Snadam and the emotion, the energy in motion, the emotion that I received from that vibration that reminded me of home, of where we really come from. It's that all generating, organizing, right? Decomposing, G-O-D. And yeah, the G-O-D is the generating, organizing, decomposing. Whatever you call it, it's doing it.
Just a trillis.
It's generating something.
Yes.
So we sing about 7 mantras in the morning. You know, some of them are 7 minutes, some of them are 22 minutes. And that first day, I felt the awareness that I was chanting. I didn't really know the mantras. I just learned them. But I was also watching myself chant and listening to myself chant and realizing there was a conversation going on between a consciousness and the person who I have said is me. And I said, wow, okay, I'll be back next Saturday. And I did that for about a year, and it really did change my life. And then that's when I took a yoga class. I traded a website for a year's worth of yoga classes. in
Cool.
Kundalini yoga.
I've done that a lot too. That's how I did
energy
teacher
exchange,
trainings.
right?
Yes.
And then
Had you done your teacher training by then?
I hadn't done my teacher training.
Oh wow! So you did a year of sadhana, and then did your teacher training after?
And and then I went to yoga class, and I was like, "Where are the mantras? Where are the 7 songs? What happened to because it's
Oh,
the
wow.
class and the sadhana are different."
It's like someone who practices Bikram and goes into any other yoga class. They're like, "What's downward dog?"
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and it's like
the
the same thing with Kundalini. You're like, "Where's the chants?
Where's the mantra?
Where's the fire breath?"
Where's breath of fire? And I G1 Carr, amazing teacher.
Yeah, she is.
She's the one who said, "Hey, listen, take my classes." But just to clear it up, I used to be a nervous wreck, and it was so normal for me to be a nervous wreck. So to explain that to you, I would leave my house every morning with about 3 T-shirts. I would leave my house. By the time I got to work, I was drenched in sweat. I would change my shirt so I wouldn't look like a sweaty pig. Then by lunchtime, I would go eat lunch. Done sweating from eating all that food, then I would put another shirt on.
Oh my God.
And then sweat the rest of the day. And then by the time I leave, I would have another shirt. And that was normal for me. And I would see guys wearing suits in Florida, and I would be so jealous. Like, how do they wear all those layers? But here's the beautiful thing about the practice, and any practice that you commit to. After about a month, I realized that I hadn't used any of those shirts today. I wasn't a sweaty mess. I wasn't a nervous wreck.
Wow.
Wow.
The work, the commitment to doing the work, at least the breath, the movement, at least once a week, twice a week, helped my glands, the glandular imbalance that I had. That you can't go to a doctor and get them to see it. But I was able to heal from that anxiety, from the sweaty, the unbalanced glandular stuff.
Yeah. It's deep work. It's such subtle work that gets done.
It's a very subtle work, and sometimes we don't even see it. Like I didn't notice it until those shirts weren't needed.
Wow. So, with the sadhana, I wanted to ask you, there's the Aquarian sadhana that was prescribed by Yogi Bhajan until 2012. So what do you think about, like, what do we do now? Do you still do the Aquarian sadhana? Do your own thing?
When that date came, every morning, that was the question within the Kundalini Yoga. Well, what are we going to do after? We're going into from Piscean age to the Aquarian age.
Now what?
And now what?
It's been the question.
Well, it works. It's like the wheel. Have you seen a square wheel? Have you seen a lot of change in the wheel? The thickness, the rims, the thickness of the gel, but it's still round. So, in a way, the practice of the sadhana has stayed the same with that respect of it's worked. Whether we're in the Piscean age or the Aquarian age or whatever age is coming, it will always be new, because in our books you see a planet and the sun and the planets going around the sun, and they're moving around, and then in that visual you always see that it's always going to end up in the same beginning spot that you started. But in reality, the sun is also moving, so we're moving around a moving object. So the beautiful thing of the burst of a death of a star that sprinkles the carbon into our planet and mixes with the sunlight and the water and the elements that become who we are.
Yes.
We are no longer receiving the same rain of carbon from the same place in the universe. And so who we are, that's why we have these crystal children and all these new kids that are so amazing. It's because I believe, this is my belief, is that it's a new carbon. It's a new higher vibration.
Yes. And they've been trickling in since probably, I think, since the 60s. The indigo started, and then we're all indigo, and then the crystalline and the white. There's just, like you said, the consciousness is rising, and we're holding the space for it. We came here, and we're also part of it. And Kundalini Yoga is such an awesome tool. So you're teaching Kundalini workshops and classes right now?
I am.
What are you up to?
I am also putting together events that are non-yoga based. Like right now I'm putting together a sound healing spoken word event, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, tell us about that.
I like spoken words.
Yes. Saul Williams was one of my inspirations. And when I was in New York, we lived in New York, Death Poetry Jam was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Death Poetry
Russell?
Jam. Yeah, Russell.
I love Russell. Hi, Russell. You want to be on the show?
Yes, please. So the other day I was at, I do a full moon on the beach event every full moon.
And you've been doing that for like 1,600 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Good number, though. Good. And there was a gentleman who, a friend of mine, a student of mine, Derek, who said, hey, I have this poem I just wrote inspired by the class, and I want to say it after class. So it was an inspiration. Another student of mine, he's a military vet, and he did a show on TED with poetry of post-traumatic stress of the military.
Yeah.
So it was just like that moment. Boop, 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 boop. Those two things came. We had just done crystal balls, and I said, okay, we're doing an event where we're mixing sound healing and the power of the word. You know, how we express ourselves. And so the event will be a mix of sound healing going on as the poems are being chanted.
What?
And so we're sitting down to put it together, and the poems are already there. They're written. There's a bunch of poetry we want to put together. So now we're just conceptualizing the rhythm.
That's beautiful. I just saw someone recently, they were doing like Thai massage with sound healing. Just having that sound healing in the background, combined with things. So you're combining it with reading poetry and spoken word.
And you know what's interesting, that I'm here with you now, because when we were sitting down the first time to conceptualize this, I thought about you and Moses.
Yeah.
Because Moses is always on the rhymes, right? And I know you did your 305 Gangsters comedy.
I'm a rapper.
I know you are, girl. Shoot. Very talented. Z-Love in
I'm
the
a
house.
rapper with chocolate on the inside.
Yo.
I started writing you a song. It started, living life, living the life, seeking the light, being the light. That's where I stopped.
It's powerful, baby. I love it.
That's you. So there was the other workshop you were doing, the Revive All. What is that?
Okay, revival. That's something that I've been putting together for a while. It is a re-establishment with the vibration of the all, the generating, organizing, decomposing, and it's based on Hermetic principles. And what happens?
What's Hermetic?
Okay, so Hermetic means that it's been hidden, because back in the day, Egypt was the place where everybody went to get their teachings.
So it's like
Jesus,
the mystical teachings?
Right? The ancient mystical school of learning. So, these are 7 principles that are govern everything, like gravity. Like gravity doesn't care what religion you follow, what you're wearing today, or who you like and don't like, what music you listen to. You're gonna fall if you don't throw yourself on the top of the building, right? So these are the principles that govern a lot of the modalities that people teach now. You guys were talking about teaching and the teaching and teachers, and
yes,
these are the 7 principles that govern all the teachings, which is mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Now, cause and effect is a huge one. That's the one that you get the power, the secret, the power of magnetic,
karma.
Right? Karma. And so all these modalities really come from these ancient principles.
And this is like kind of like the 101.
Principia. Principles is the first and foremost, the most important, the prime minister, the prime thing. So if you ask somebody, what is the most important thing to you? Some people will say love, family, relationship. Well, that's good and all. But you know what breaks up relationships and families? When there's no principles.
Or people have different principles.
Or different
they
principles.
disagree.
And polarity. Or they think the gender, they think that, well, you're a man and you're supposed to do this, and I'm a woman and I'm supposed to do this. And we all have male and female within us. You know, we all have it within us. And so these principles, when you examine them, when you really dig deep in them, you realize that if you follow them, it's not so difficult. It could be easier. We have modalities that we go to classes, we go to workshops, and then people tell us stuff, and you're like, oh my God, I just had this amazing workshop. This person was amazing. They're like, I'm going to go to all their workshops. I feel great. And then they leave, they get in the car, and somebody cuts them off, and it's like, this asshole, you know? And so you're all one. Everybody is God. We're all one, except until that guy cuts you off or that person pisses you off.
Yep.
The principles are great, are setting a foundation for understanding. And in Freemasonry, you build a platform where the foundation where you're going to build the house. You get an understanding of what the house is. If you want to build the second floor, you have to get a ladder, look at the foundation. Is it going to hold up? Look at the ceiling. Will it hold up another floor? Once you have an understanding and you see what you want to build, then you can get an overstanding. Malachi Z. York, who taught these teachings, these Freemason, people call Freemasonry teachings, you know, you'll see that every other modality kind of bottlenecks ends up back in that same part of principles. And so the revival is a workshop it's an interactive workshop that allows us to have the pranayama, the sound healing that we all know works, with
the principles. You know, just to clear, because I think when people hear Freemasonry, there's they're not quite, you know, there's the connotation of the Masons, and that's
The
usually
Illuminati.
negative, and but the Freemasonry comes from, maybe we could explain a little bit where it comes from, because the teachings are very
okay,
they're
so
very underlying a lot of things that we already know, right?
well, a Freemason is a master architect. That's all a Freemason is.
Of anything?
Of anything. So back in the day, the Freemason is the one who built Solomon's temple. And what they would do is they would look at the geometry, the sacred geometry of what governs how plants are growing, the mathematic dimensions of bone structure in our bodies. They're all aligned. Music vibration is aligned with sacred geometry. So a Mason, when he builds a house or a temple, he first draws geometry of a square holds this amount of weight, a triangle holds this amount of weight. So back in the day, the Freemasons were the master builders, and within that, they also held the knowledge of
Sacred geometry and all of that.
of the ancient, of the science of creation. And so as we've gone on in the world, we have grown into this word Illuminati as a Freemason, and every president of the United States has been a Freemason, right? And you know, you have the Bilderberg Group, and you have the Trilateral Commission, you have the Skull and Bones, and you have all these things that we have all labeled as good or bad.
Yeah.
But in reality, Freemasonry is a tool just like this pen right here.
Yeah.
I can sit here and write you a beautiful poem for the event, or I can grab it and stab somebody repeatedly in the back with it.
Deep.
That's so deep.
It has nothing to do with what you do with the tool, but what you do with it. Freemasonry is a tool that has been labeled just like
It's awareness. It gives you awareness to things.
Somebody sees the swastika nowadays, they think Hitler, but in reality, the swastika was a symbol to mark a temple in Buddhist map.
Yeah, it's a sacred symbol.
The four, right? The four elements. So.
Brian, I'm going to take you in another direction because time flies when we're having fun on Z Nation. So, if there's anything else that you would share with people, like people who are new on the path, you've been on the path for a little bit, and our listeners come from all different walks. What would you say right now, just current with the world, like anything that you would share with people?
I encourage people to question everything.
Yes.
Thank you for
question everything. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't stop watching television. Don't stop watching television, but realize that television is televised visually. So you want to use the Bruce Lee method, which is the takeaway. See everything, go everywhere, experience every damn thing you can in the world. And I said damn thing because we have this idea of good and bad, heaven and earth, and hell. What I'm trying to say is there is no good, there is no bad. And by you questioning everything, you can grow and create your own story. Not history, who the hell he is, I don't know, or the future. But make it your own story, create your own, grab whatever works for you from everywhere and create your own.
Yes. Thank
create
you.
Your own.
You're reading my mind
Guru.
right now.
G-U-R-U.
Waheguru.
Waheguru. Will you take us into a little meditation? Siri Karta, Brian Olegario, my brother. Thank you.
Satnam. Yes. Let's just take a deep breath in. Let's take each of these inhales and each of these exhales as a practice so that we can inhale that love in a higher elevated degree of awareness. It's not a love for the cookies or the music or the good vibration, but a love for a vibration of you, of your true self, your fullest potential. And as you inhale that love for yourself, on each exhale, connected with gratitude for that breath as it's taken in, bringing in that pranic, that life energy, infinite awareness. And as you exhale, you can release and filter out that which no longer suits you. Feel in that cycle of taking in life force, potential, prosperity. At the same time, exhale, finalize that circle. Become co-creative energy. Consciously breathe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for joining us. Thank you all for tuning in. And may we take this breath, this awareness, into everything that we do and share it. Each one of us are teachers. Each one of us has something so unique and beautiful to share. Please share away. We love you. Namaste.
Namaste, y'all. Peace out.
Namaste.
Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.